Master Iron Fist, Lieutenant Kalik and Sergeant Piridak reporting.
Proceed.
While dutifully patrolling the beach at Brighton Point as ordered, we detected a large raiding party of 40 elves invading our territory. When the time was right, we attacked.
Oh, how brave.
The enemy fell back before the fury of our attack. We accepted our duty to defend our fair land. We killed at least half a dozen of them before they knew what was happening. The rest ran like pigs from an axe. We gave chase, and I saw with my... What is so amusing, Master?
Nothing. Continue.
Of course. As I was saying, we were chasing the goblins, shooting them in the backs because they would not stand and fight honorably.
Regrettable, but necessary.
Yes, Your Majesty. We had slain nearly all of the goblins when we saw the sea monsters approaching. At first we thought they had come to help the goblins, but it soon became clear their arrival had nothing to do with the fight on the beach. We ran for cover in the rocks. Each was carrying a bag around his waist, and each was wearing a curious amulet that looked like a small black box.
What? Wait a minute. Go back.
You mean the part where I personally slew 2 elves with a single arrow?
No! After that lie! Tell me about the boxes!
They were about 1.5 inches on the side and made of smooth black metal. We couldn't get a closer look.
Those boxes sound like something out of legend. What happened next?
The sea people began to quarrel, when one group turned abruptly and started walking away down the beach. The remaining started walking the other way. In the morning, we found that one of them had shed its skin on the beach. Their tracks had washed away in the tide, so we decided to return to base and report.
Thank you for your report, Lieutenant Kalik. I am pleased to hear something interesting for once. You are promoted to captain. Assemble a search party at once and find those sea people. If you succeed, you can keep the promotion, as well as your life. Oh, and Kalik, one more thing.
Good luck.
Okay, hello everybody, welcome to Might and Magic 7 for Blood and Honor. I've seen Let's Plays of this before that are pretty slow and just kind of, they're more like walkthroughs, but I actually want to make this a lot more about where RPGs have gone and what I miss about RPGs like this. I got this game on goodoldgames.com. I know Might and Magic 6 is available on Steam, but I don't think this one is yet. This is the superior Might and Magic. Tons of you have probably played Heroes. Heroes is the popular series, but this is the original one, and personally, when it comes to RPGs, as opposed to turn-based strategy, this is a way better game. So let's jump in and start chatting. Okay. The create a party section. This might have to be edited down. But basically, what you want to do is find yourself someone who's a beat stick. Knight is a really good class, so I think I do actually want a knight. Now, like I said, paladin can also be a beat stick. Monk in some ways can be a beat stick. Ranger, I guess, but not really. I prefer knight because he is just solid muscle. You know, certain enemies obviously are going to be resistant to magic and other things. You want a well-rounded team. There are challenge runs people go through where they pick like all knights or all sorcerers or something like that, and those are really hard, but we're going to play a basic character here. Oh wow, it is so refreshing to be playing this game again. This is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. He starts with sword and leather. We're going to eventually get him to plate mail. But more importantly, a bow. When you're playing Might and Magic, everyone needs a bow. Bow is going to be amazingly good. This is not one of those RPGs where you choose what weapon you're using, as in I can use a sword or I can use a bow. No. You can hold a bow on top of whatever melee weapon you have. And then just depending on your range when you attack, you'll use one or the other. The AI is very exploitable. We are going to walk through how how different it is from your average RPG today, and in a lot of ways how it's better. So I'm going to try and make this as unhipster as possible. Like, I'm not just going to say it's better because it's older, because that's not the truth. The bow does way less damage, but it's almost essential for every character to have a bow very early in the game so that you can get those range attacks off, because once they're in melee range, you're going to start being hit. So you want to do as much damage as you can before they get into that range. So we're going to make sure everyone starts off with a bow, basically. A knight has absolutely no spell points. He is all combat, all melee, all bow. So we're not going to worry about either of those things. Endurance, super important for everybody. We want him to be beefy because when we're close up, he needs to survive. He really just needs to survive. And accuracy is also important for everybody because this system, like many RPGs of this day, worked just like Dungeons & Dragons do, where every attack is based on rolls, chances, and modifiers based on your weapons and your stats. Beef is a funny name. So anytime we change their class, or if you want to make sure you get this done first, because it'll reset all this. Like, we just did some work here and it's all been for naught. Okay, great. So we've got him a bow. This is really cool. So they start based on their class with 2 things automatically. I have to have a sword. I have to be able to use leather. So you might as well take advantage of that, right? So buying each skill you want, you have to buy and then level up separately. Like I said, I don't want this to be like a step-by-step boring walkthrough, so let's get through this pretty quick. We're going to give him a shield. The secondary character is where you kind of you decide what build you want to have with your 4 characters. Cleric is almost essential because only the cleric can get, only certain classes can master certain skills. And cleric and sorcerer are basically completely essential. So you want a secondary sort of melee character. The cleric's pretty good at it, but you also want someone with a lot of utility, someone who can make up for everything that these 3 can't do. So this is basically your flex character. It doesn't have to be the second slot. Like, you can put them in any slot you want. It's their speed that's going to decide who goes first. It's not like left to right. Okay? So don't worry about who's in what slot. It just sets it up this way, and I just go with it. So I put the flex character in my second slot. And what we're going to do, I could go with monk, I could go with ranger, but I'm going to go with thief because chests hold amazing things, and chests are almost always all trapped. I can't think of... There are very few chests in the game that are not trapped, except ones that require a key. So, disarm trap is an incredibly useful skill, and I think only the thief can grandmaster it. We'll get dodging eventually. These are things that, like, you might worry, oh my god, what if I choose these? You can get all these skills. You can eventually have them with all these skills. This is just deciding what you want at the beginning of the game for them to start with.
Choose me.
Oh, that is not good looking.
Pick me.
No.
Pick me.
We don't want to be a sausage
me.
fest either. Let's pick the only hot girl pretty much in the game. Lexi. No, that's like a porn star name. I just had this horrible urge to put an X on her name. Quayla. Yeah. And that reminds me of a Dark Souls character, and that's fucking awesome. So let's do that. There's like relic items that are probably the most powerful items in a game that only certain races can use. So you want to have a well-rounded. You don't want everyone to be humans. You don't want everyone to be dwarves. So we're gonna spread it out. We'll have one of each: goblin, human, dwarf, elf. That guy's beard is amazing. So we're gonna call him Bumble. Bumble the dwarf. That is actually very Disney-esque. I don't like it at all. We're going to call him Krieg. Yeah! And that's kind of a reference to the previous game, Might and Magic VI. Okay, and our elf, who do we want her to be?
Come on, pick me.
Please choose. Hey, right here. Pick me. Pick.
There are only 2 female elves.
Pick me.
And she is way better, so we're going to call her Kiri. Kiri. Cool. No, Kiri has an E. It doesn't matter. Spell however we want. Right away. Again, I can get all these eventually, so I shouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. We want to be able to sell things at a higher price. Let's get merchant immediately. Meditation is the equivalent of bodybuilding for spell points, so that adds spell points directly to his spell point totals, and let's make sure he can heal as much as possible right at the beginning. Great. Okay, now we want her to have as much magic as possible. Leather defense is important. Air magic is super important. All the magics are very important, so let's give her as many of those immediately. And they're also very expensive in terms of a skill. But we also need someone to identify right away. Maybe identify is harder to get. Okay. Whatever, we'll give her identify item instead. Like I said, not super important. So accuracy is extremely important for the thief. Might is extremely important for the knight. Personality is extremely important for the dwarf. And intellect is super important for the elf. Whoa, she was already at 20. No, she wasn't. So that's what I do first, and then I see how many I have left. We want to now balance out things that they are going to need but aren't necessarily good at. Accuracy is good for her, speed is good for her, but not good for these folks. And we want them to be able to hit as well. Notice how, because this is something she's really good at, she gets, for 1 bonus point, I get 2 points in that skill. That's another thing you have to really be aware of. Alright, we're good to go. Sorry that took so long. Let's begin.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Emerald Island scavenger hunt is about to begin. The list of objects has been given to all contestants. As you know, the winners of the contest will be awarded title to Castle Harmony and the surrounding lands. Be careful. Emerald Island can be dangerous. Last night, 3 contestants disappeared, and we are concerned for their safety. During the contest, please be on the lookout for our missing contestants. If you find a piece of equipment in the woods, return at once with a clue. It may save their lives. There have been rumors that some kind of monster is loose on the island and may be hiding in one of the caves. If you see a cave you are unfamiliar with, don't go into it. Send someone back to town and the guards will conduct a search for you. We don't want anyone else to get hurt. And one more thing. We have... sorry. We have reports that the monster may be a dragon. If you see it, run for your lives.
Okay. Now, the PC version I found had some acceleration problems where I was, like, the turn radius was way too fast, and everything was just way too fast. Oh, this music is really loud. I kind of hope it's working. Welcome to Emerald Island. I will be your guide during your stay here. From time to time, I will appear to tell you about something you're about to see to help you understand your new world. If you tire of my messages, I won't be offended if you do just click on my portrait. We're going to do that immediately. I've played this game enough times that I can kind of walk you through it. But she's kind of great. She's like an optional tutorial, which is amazing, right? Imagine having to go through the tutorial every single time. First thing to know, campfires give you food. And food is very important for traveling. Look at these people walking around. You can tell already, this is the way enemies work too. 2D sprites moving around in a 3D world. Their AI is often predictable, but it is made up for by how ridiculously powerful some of them are. Now the first thing people might not remember is that you're given stuff based on the skills you chose. Let's put it on. You may be tempted to put rings on people even if they don't do anything. This is not helping him in any way stat-wise. So its value is 300, let's sell it. Now, awesome, we can start talking about RPGs. I'm going to turn down the game sound.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to turn down the sound volume. Music volume should be very low so you can hear what the hell I'm saying. Even though the music is actually quite amazing in this game. Oh, look at that, a region. Hitting spacebar will easily pick things up. You don't have to stop and click on them every time. That's really annoying. So this is where we need to go.
His Grace, Lord Markham,
Duke of the Western Lowlands. Tell me about Castle Harmondale. If you win, you'll be in charge of one of the most scientific areas in all Earthia. No, one of the most scenic areas. Harmondale is just outside the Tellurian Forest, right on the edge of the elf-human border. And I'm sure you'll love the castle. It's a bit of a fixer-upper, but it's quite roomy and has excellent ventilation. It breaks my heart to part with this property, but I feel that the time has come for me to give something back to the people. Alright, well, that's not the whole story, but we'll worry about that later. Isn't this hunt exciting? I'm really grateful. Wow, I'm having a seriously hard time talking right now. You came to my little event, and I hope you have fun, even if you don't win. I think it's great that everyone's competing in a spirit of good sportsmanship and camaraderie. No, we're stuck on this fucking island, and we want to get off. That's what. So, keep in mind I have 1,000 gold. Every time you hear that, you've got a quest or something similar. Rules of the hunt, don't care. What do you have? Nothing. She sparkled because she got a quest, but it's a quest for everybody. There's nothing special about the fact that she sparkled. It's only because she was talking. But that is very important. Who you have selected is who is going to do the talking when you access dialogue stuff. And that's very important. Because often you can only complete a quest by giving an item that might be in a certain person's inventory. That person often has to be the one selected. So keep that in mind. Whew. One thing about RPGs, right, is these days you can't just hit escape. This will pause the game at any time, and it's fucking essential to having a good RPG, or having a good game. And like, if you want to bridge the gap between casual gamers and hardcore gamers, let them fucking pause and let them fucking save at any time. I can save it right now, and I'm going to. Game saved. I can do that whether I'm in the middle of an enemy group or not. And I understand, I heard someone say, well, if you allow them to save at any time, they might save at a spot that is right before a glitch or right before they die, things like that. Well, just be a not idiot. Be a not idiot and save in multiple spots. This one is safe. We've named it this one is safe because we're only going to save when we're in safe areas. This is cool because, again, we've skipped the tutorial. She's probably going to tell us what this is if we walked up to it with her activated, but she's not. Fire resistance for everybody. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And it even tells you how long it lasts. Although 4 hours and 57 minutes of in-game time is very different. That's a cave with a dragon in it. We do not want to enter there. Yeah, another thing, quick travel. You will not find any quick travel in this game. There is controlled quick travel, as in you can go to boats to get places quickly, you can go to stables to get places quickly, but you cannot, I repeat, you cannot just hit the map and click somewhere and teleport there, because that is stupid. It doesn't make sense. Even if it skips the appropriate amount of in-game time, I feel like it's cheating. And I fucking hate that it's done in modern RPGs right now. I am just wandering around sort of aimlessly while I speak. This is one of my first Let's Plays, and it's not easy to talk and play at the same time. Now, a crate is the equivalent of a chest. Like I said, pretty much every chest is trapped in the game. She's got Disarm Trap. Have her selected when you click the chest. Bam. Okay, so that sounded like it wasn't trapped anyways, but... And then I click her because she's got Identify Item. She is able to tell me what some of these things are. Okay, gauntlets are great because they're like an overall item that anyone can use at any time. You do not have to have a gauntlet skill to use gauntlets. So all weapon skills are learned at weapon teachers. Or blacksmiths. There's the sign for weapons. Bam. If NPCs get in your way, by the way, hit Y.
Move!
And whoever selected will yell at them
Need
to
a
get
new
out of the way.
weapon?
It doesn't affect any disposition or anything. So what can she learn? Sword, axe, staff, not a big deal. Bow, yay.
That costs more than you have.
That costs 500 gold to learn.
Thanks.
Man, I am completely lost now. Isn't this a permanent one? Oh, temporary. Now, if this is very interesting because some wells will fuck you up. Some in the later game will possibly kill you. It's basically a risk, but you can save before you do it anyways. So I recommend saving before you drink from a well, just in case. Now we wanted to sell... Ah, that's right. You're going to get a lot of rings and gems that you want to sell because these gems are only for selling. I think they can be used in some alchemy, but I'm not a big fan of alchemy. You can pretty much get everything you need without the skill. So we're going to sell those, but the only place we can sell those is at either a potion shop, which I think mostly only buys potions, or an actual magic shop. And the magic shop, I believe, is that. Magician, juggler, whatever. Sleight of hand.
Can I help you with anything?
Yay, display inventory, sell. So, as you can see, the value is 300, but he's only going to give me 109 for it. Normally, he would have given me 85, but I have a merchant skill, and the higher I get that skill, the closer to its actual value I'll be able to sell it for. Great. That gave us enough gold to get her the bow skill. Getting her bow, getting her bow, getting her bow, I need her bow.
Need a new weapon?
Why am I displaying inventory when I want to learn bow?
Thanks. Come
Lovely.
again.
Now we just have to actually get her a bow, because despite the fact that I have the skill, I don't have an actual bow to use. But that's okay. We have lots of creatures to kill, places to see, people to talk to, and things to get. Oh, RPGs. Why aren't they like this anymore? Actual exploration and world building, that's the thing, too, about RPGs. It's like, I don't want this to be a Let's Play, but I feel like most people just don't know what the hell this game is. Hitting enter puts me into turn-based mode, and that's where enemies and I have to now take turns based on our speed fighting. So if I just hit A, they automatically shoot their bow. Oh wow, he killed one in one go. That's amazing. When I hit A with her, nothing is going to happen because she doesn't have a bow. So I'm going to hit C and decide on a spell. These are my spell trees: fire, air. Let's use Wizard Eye. Wizard Eye allows me to see all the NPCs on the map. So they're the hostile ones, red, friendly ones, green, and dead ones, yellow. And later on there will be another color added for treasure, which is really cool. From this distance, I believe there is a modifier. Let's cast a firebolt at one of them. Okay, it didn't do anything. At this point, this was not in the previous games, but when our turn is over, we get 5 steps in any direction. So I'm going to take them all forward. Look at that. Wow, they're like one-shotting these guys. I'm glad I put points in the bow. Forward. We actually do want to get these guys in the melee range, because a lot of them, like that, can cast fire at us. He luckily missed. But melee is a lot more... gives us a lot more oomph. And we'll kill them a lot quicker that way. You can fight out of turn-based mode, but you have to do a lot of zigzagging, a lot of... and we are going to use that later in the game for some of the harder parts that's just near impossible to do in turn-based mode. If you think you can just spam through it, because these guys are pretty weak. I mean, he did decent damage, but you can pretty much just hit A. Okay, now we're getting a lot that are showing up here. You'll see that I don't have any information on them. There's a skill called Identify Monster. Everything has a correlating skill. Everything makes sense. It's logical, except for, you know, some of the design limits, basically, in terms of, as you can see, everything's polygonal. Things will collide awkwardly. There will be glitches, but everything that is built into the game, gameplay-wise, makes sense. Look at that, he killed a dragonfly. Let's shoot fire at a different one. Hey, 1 point of damage. What a terrible spell. So usually each type of enemy has 3 different levels of difficulty. You got your regular dragonfly, you got your fire dragonfly, and then somewhere there'll be a queen dragonfly that I believe is purple. If I just hold right click, I can scan across and see if I can find one. But I can't, so no big deal. Okay, being in red means you are now in melee range, both for yourself and for them, so there's a trade-off there. Let's see how much damage she does here. 2 damage. No damage. Ooh, 3 damage. Lovely. Look at that. When they're weak, they back up sometimes. Oh wait, he's not even weak though. Never mind, don't worry about it. Watch this guy's hit. Ah, they're missing, because they're terrible. Yeah, we're all level 1. We're all pretty terrible. Not really a good example of differences, because no one's really doing any damage. Ooh, 11 points. See, that's a ton of damage right there, as I say that. Let's select heal and set spell. So now I don't have to go back into that menu. If I want to cast that set spell, I can just hit S and heal my guy. Man, clearing out these dragonflies is brutal. There are a lot of them. You weren't meant to do this in one wave. This is interesting, right? Like, all my guys are pretty much half health already. And this is the first enemy set I've found. So you can tell this is not going to be an easy game. And to make up for the fact that their movement patterns are very predictable and exploitable, they've made all the creatures extremely tough. Not all the creatures, but most of the creatures have a toughness that is proportionate to how bad they are at moving, because almost every character moves the same. Okay, this is very important. We want to kill off the weak ones because they will run so far as to be off the map, and we want to be able to collect their corpses. Oh boy. So I'm dying already. Yeah, see, he's already too far probably to collect his corpse. But we want to kill him. We really want to kill him. Come on. There we go. Okay. He's dead, but look how weak our guys are, because they've been hitting us this whole time. You can use different screens to, page down will move your look up, which is counterintuitive, I know, and we'll move it sideways, and then delete will aim down. We want to get the hell out of here. So we're going out of turn-based mode, and we are going to swing around. Already 2 of my people are unconscious. Now this is not like Pokemon where fainting is the end. They can actually go past fainting based on how much negative hit points they have. So she's at -1. That only constitutes unconsciousness. I believe -50 is death, and then -100 is eradication. And each condition is either more expensive or more difficult to cure, based on what spells you have. Now, I'm going to try and heal her. Good, she's back. Let's get out of turn-based mode. Heal her. Okay, the dragonflies are now killing civilians. However, the guards are protecting them, which is great. That did not happen in Might Magic 6. The AI was just not prepared for that. And look, we can loot the peasants with no consequences. Okay, they are really just fighting guards here. Oh, that guard is basically dead. Let's try and help him before he's completely out. Too late. He's dead. A lot of dragonflies, not a lot of health. You can collect corpses regardless of your turn. That's just a thing you can do at any time. So many dragonflies. And they're all about to turn on us in the next move. Let's GTFO. Oh boy. We'll lead them into town, have them kill a few more peasants. Now this is not really a good thing I'm doing here. Just because I can loot those peasants, they all have possibly useful things. And sometimes quest-related things. Like this guy. Okay, he just says good luck in the contest, so he's useless. Good, we have a guard. Let's get into range so we don't accidentally hit the guard, because that will aggro him and most of the peasants around him. Look at that, 2 dragonflies. We can handle these guys. Got 1. Heal. He's going to be spending most of his time healing, but he does get experience points regardless. Characters will level up separately, and they will gain experience points separately based on how often they hit, what they're doing, if they're healing, using spells, etc. So the cleric's not going to fall super behind just because he's not getting hits in. Don't worry about that. Just keep everybody alive. Good, we got them. Okay, it looks like there's another red guy who's gotten all the way down here. Let's deal with this dragon, shall we?